Mr. Shapiro, you talked about white privilege, and just this week, I had a conversation with Rachel Lazar, who's done some work, a Jewish American woman who's done some work on this area, as well as having extensive conversations with Dr. Greg Parks of Wake Forest University, who's also talked quite a bit about critical race theory. And it's my understanding that white privilege is not telling individuals that they cannot speak, but it is a term for societal privilege that individuals have as a benefit of their white skin. And I don't think that, and I think universities would be remiss to then say that because you're white, you're not allowed to say anything that's critical of white people. I didn't know that white privilege actually went into that sphere. My understanding is it's just, and the issue is that white privilege makes people uncomfortable to talk about the societal privilege that they have.
Well, to me, what I say on campuses all the time is if you want to cite instances of racism that we can all find and fight together, that's something that I'm more than willing to stand next to you and fight, because that's obviously stuff that we should fight together. But when you just say that there is a white privilege out there in the ether and that by dint of birth your skin color generates for you an advantage, what you're really saying to people is that your view is less valuable because you have not experienced what I've experienced. And that is an identity argument, that's a character argument, that's not a rational political argument that can actually be taken on in any way. It's more of a cudgel and a club than it is an attempt to open a discussion.
Well, I think it's a demonstrable evidence that through society's demographics that being white has societal privileges that being black does not. But
we can talk about how that manifests, because that's
I'm also interested in what you just said now, is that you would stand next to anyone who has this. So, Mr. Shapiro, my question to you is, for Ms. Dunston, the tying the noose around the campus and writing messages that target African-American young students, would you consider that hate speech, and then would you stand next to her and fight for her?
As I say, I would. This is the first I'm hearing about it, honestly. But
really,
yeah. But from hearing about it, maybe because it's local. I mean, I'm from LA. But in any case, I'm more than happy to stand alongside her and fight whatever group was responsible for this. Not only more than happy. I mean, you're talking about the alt-right. Again, I was the #1 target of anti-Semitic harassment from the alt-right last year. So I'm more than happy to do all that. And I think there's one more distinction that has to be made. When we talk about cases like Taylor's, they're horrific, and the administration is siding with Taylor. Okay, the administration is doing the right thing by Taylor, or trying to do the right thing by Taylor, as they should be. And I think that we need to make a distinction between cases where the administration is actively participating in the suppression of speech and cases in which the administration is trying to do the right thing in order to punish people for application of crime.
Thank you so much, Congressman Cawthorn. I am so excited for your leadership on this issue tonight. Thank you for making time to address the American people. Mr. Speaker, there are 3 people who come to mind when I think of people who cannot even give their money away. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Do you remember when her donations were returned to her by members of Congress because they don't want to be associated with her? Harvey Weinstein and Joe Biden. Those 3 cannot even give money away. In fact, by July 3rd, 25 states across America will have rejected President Biden's federal unemployment benefit bonuses. I meet with organizations every day that request funds for worthwhile endeavors. Sadly, America is $28 trillion in debt and can't afford to spend the money on many of these worthy causes, but leave it to Joe Biden to try to spend money in a way that actually hurts our economy and is rejected by Republican and Democrat governors across our entire country. That's a special level of basement incompetency. We've got 9.3 million unfilled jobs, and I hear it back home. Businesses can't get people back to work because they are making more to sit at home on the couch. They would rather watch Dave Portnoy eat a slice of pizza. But then again, maybe that's not his viewers. Maybe it's more of the folks sitting back watching Joy Behar and The View cackle and demonize our country and all of our worthwhile efforts to restore dignity in this nation. The Biden regime is literally incentivizing laziness. But then again, they set that example on a regular basis, calling it quits in the middle of the day. When's the last time the president hasn't called a lid before his afternoon snack? In my home state of Colorado, many corporations are offering bonuses that small businesses can't afford. We're seeing massive signing bonuses from $10,000 to $30,000 for utility and HVAC workers, and that's simply unsustainable. According to the Colorado Restaurant Association, more than 90% of restaurants are having issues finding workers. I'm one of them. I've had employees say, I cannot work more than 2 days a week. I cannot exceed 12 hours of work because it will cut in to my benefits. That is un-American. Joe Biden is quickly becoming the greatest threat to small businesses since Fauci's fraud. While small businesses across my district, across America, are struggling to find workers, struggling to stay open, Joe Biden is struggling to stay awake. I'm calling on this administration to end these excessive federal COVID payouts and stop de-incentivizing work. Madison Cawthorn, Congressman, thank you for your leadership on this issue. And Mr. Speaker, I yield.
America, I am sad and I am pissed. Too many Americans have died at the hands of terrorists. Too many of our soldiers have given their all, while our so-called commander-in-chief has been silent. When he does get dragged out of bed for a press conference, he can't even utter words. We cannot afford to continue to go down this path where the Taliban calls the shots and sleepy, sluggish Joe acts like their little puppet. He needs to resign now. The world needs America to have real leadership. And if he refuses to resign, we will take action. Kamala and Nancy can follow him out the dang door. They've shown weakness and have totally left our soldiers and our citizens to die at the hands of terrorist Taliban savages. To our veterans and our soldiers, I need you to know that there are millions of us who have your back. God protect our soldiers. God bless America. We need it so bad right now.
America, Joe Biden needs to resign. Kamala and Nancy can follow him out the freaking door. Too many Americans have sacrificed everything. Too many Americans have died. This failed leadership has to end. The path, the disgusting path that they are taking us down has to be stopped now. We don't need to wait for the videos of beheadings to come our way. Please keep our brave American military in your hearts, your minds, and in your prayers during this time. And stay tuned as I prepare to take steps available to me as a United States Congresswoman to bring real leadership back to America and back to the world. God bless you. And thank you for your support and your prayers in this time.
My fellow Americans, the heart of our nation is broken tonight. Americans, the bravest, most courageous among us, lay dead in the streets of Kabul today. They were spouses, parents, family members, American patriots. They had hopes and they had dreams. They were truly the best among us. But even as the world reels and even as we grieve, the United States stands strong. Our freedom remains intact. But it remains intact because there are hundreds of thousands of service members who are just as brave and just as ready to pay the ultimate price. But though we stand strong today, it is incumbent upon we the people to be vanguards of our republic and take steps to save American lives. In times of trial and hardship, when it seems our government has failed us, we turn to our leaders for answers. We demand accountability because that's innately American. Inaction and indecisiveness have defined our politics for far too long. The hallmark reaction of far too many leaders today has been to roll over and surrender, to do nothing. Those days are over. This is not a time for impassioned speeches followed by no action. With that in mind, when I look to our Commander-in-Chief, I do not see someone who maliciously makes poor decisions. And yet today we witness devastating heartbreak. American carnage is a direct result of his inept and incompetent actions. Joe Biden does not simply have a pattern of poor decision-making. His mental decline is on full display. Our enemies know it. Americans have witnessed it. His disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal proves even further. Our executive is in crisis. President Biden's physical inability to lead is not a political talking point. It is a demonstrable fact. Our president is not mentally fit to serve as president of these United States. I truly believe that he is unable to discharge the duties of the office he holds. That is why today I sent letters to each member of the president's cabinet and to the vice president asking that they invoke the 25th Amendment of the United States Constitution